Do you ever feel the pressure to look perfect, be perfect, have the best hair? Well, the thing is, confidence isn't having it all together. It's showing up when you don't. In sweatpants, in sequins, on your worst day or your best day. We just have to courageously make our own path, put one foot in front of the other, sing our song, do our dance, be who we are. Let's stop trying to meet someone else's goal, which only leads to feeling like a failure. Let's make our own goals. Let's make our own life, the life we want to live. You got this.
I guess these are the only clothes I own. That's the exact same as the video. This is it. This is all I got. But I mean, I feel like a boss in it, you know? It comes with matching pants. Next time, Fargo, do we go all the way? All the way. It's girls' night. I forgot what girls' night is like. I can do the whole thing next time. My handsome husband, Sting lookalike, he'll be out in a couple seconds. But I wanted to have some girl time first. I was like, babe, can I just go out first and like have some girl time? It's been a while. Is that okay if we start like this? I'm in a house of boys. I think I have a picture of my boys. And I don't get a ton of girl time. I get a lot of love, but not a ton of girl time. It's been a minute. I haven't left the house in 2 years, so this is good. I'm out of sweatpants. I'm in the sequin blazer. And we're here. This event's been like 2 years coming, right? Come on, let's give it up. We're here. We made it. We're here. See, during COVID, when you're a touring family from Canada on work visas living in Nashville, y'all, you find yourself looking in the mirror going like, who am I anyway? Without the crowd, without the applause, who am I? Just me, you know? Do you know that person when you look in the mirror? Have you gotten to know her more through COVID, the no makeup, you know, just you, right? I know, sometimes I'm like, okay, I love you, he loves me, it's fine, it's good, okay. But it got real for me, and I felt the Lord as I looked out the window at my merch-filled trailer and all my canceled tour dates and just this open calendar. I was kind of freaking out. Anyone else have freak out moments over the last little while? Yeah, right? You and me, babe, yeah. But the Lord started nudging me a little bit. He was like, Jode, it's time to start speaking. I'm like, I'm not a speaker, I'm a singer. I don't know. And he's like, I think you need to start writing. Like, you should write a book. This is what I'm sensing. I'm like, I'm not a pastor. I can't write a book. I write songs. He's like, right, you're not a pastor. Don't write a pastor book. Just write your book. I was like, dang, that's hard to argue with. So I just started writing stuff down. And I'm here to tell you that you can just be you. You don't have to do anything anyone else's way. I feel like COVID gave me such a chance to step back and go like, when I feel like a failure, is it because I'm trying to meet all of their goals instead of my own? Am I being faithful to steward what God's asking me to do? Wouldn't it be cool if God only asked us to show up and do things that we're super good at? Wouldn't that be so good? You're like, I'm an expert, perfect, so glad you asked me. Woo, let's go. But here I am, and I've always said, I am not a speaker, I'm a singer. But you know what? God and my gut told me, you got this, Jode. Because you got this in my life. My definition is that you got this is not having it all together. It's showing up when you don't. It's showing up when you don't. You've had those moments, right? I'm going to take you back. I think there's a picture to prove the so don't got this moment, okay? It was a couple years ago. I'm backstage. We're on the biggest tour of our life. And I'm nursing Ziggy. He's like 6 weeks old. Milo is 18 months older. He's holding onto my pant leg. Is there a green room shot back there to prove? Oh yeah, it was real. This is about 1 minute to showtime. And I totally thought, I got this, I'm good. I've always like been able to just get up on stage and be like, yeah, I'm good, I got it, he's awesome. And I'm just like backstage and I'm literally falling apart, for real falling apart. Because it's like the hormones, I don't really know how to nurse well yet, but I'm trying to do all the things and be all the things. And they're like, Love and the Outcome up next. This husband and wife duo from Canada, we love them. And I'm just like bawling. And I brought skinny jeans. That was a great idea. So I was like, both arms. I'm like pulling them up as hard as I can, and I can't get them past my hips. Note, I'm not wearing skinny jeans. Never again. And I couldn't get them on in time, and it's like getting tight. So all I could do, I put back on what I slept in the night before. And then I always have red lipstick on hand to hide the bags. So red lipstick, handed off Ziggy, ran on stage. And I smiled my way through the first song, and then the tears started to flow, and I couldn't fake it till I make it anymore. I was too tired. And at the end of myself, I know you've been there. And I decided to just get real about it. And I just cried and I shared, and I was like, I'm a brand new mom. I don't know what I'm doing. I thought I knew what a rock star was. It was looking cool and having it all together, but maybe a rock star is just showing up to your real life in sweatpants or in sequins. God can use you either way. He can use me. He just wants us to show up. So I've been singing in my hairbrush since I was since I could hold a hairbrush, like 3. And my mom would pick me up from Sunday school, and she'd be like, was Jodi well behaved? And they'd be like, well, she was pretty good, but you know, it's a problem. When we ask everyone to stand for worship, she says, why don't you just sit down and listen to my new song? Yeah, it's still happening. You're going to listen to all my new songs. You're going to clap. It's going to be great. And, you know, I was embarrassed about that for the longest time, but the Lord started to reveal to me during COVID and all this writing business that who we are as little kids says so much about who God made us to be, right? Think back when you felt free and unashamed. Unashamed, imagine that. Unashamed. Anyone else deal with shame? Goodness sakes. It sucks, and it's always in my head. The never enough is always in my head. But when I was little, I didn't care if I got the world stamp of approval on my song, if it went #1, if it went viral, if anyone followed me or unfollowed me. I didn't care. I just sang my song, you know, because that's what was in me to do. What is in you to do? I'm not saying that your passion has to be your paycheck. Goodness knows, it has not been for the last 1.5 years, and I'm still doing it. I just started showing up and saying, yes, Lord, I'll serve you. Yes, I'll do it. I'll sing that jingle and sell that comfy couch and that bank commercial. I'll do 3-set nights in Canada and bars. You name it, I sang it. Lead worship on Sunday, I'm there. I just was like, I want to do this. I'm all in, and I just kept chasing it down. But you know, the older we get, the more serious we get, and the more aware we become of not just me, but expected me. You know the difference, right? It's like, I know who I am, but I fight every day against what I feel like is expected of me, what I expect of myself, what culture expects of me, right? I feel like as women, it's just a lot. Be pretty. Don't be too pretty, like too sexy or tight, or just keep it loose and flowy. And be strong, not too strong. Be soft and like sensitive, and be happy and calm. Be calm also. Look like a model while you're doing it all. Come on, ladies. It's just like a lot of stuff, right? And what I realized too, and I was talking to Chris about this, and I'm like, I mean, he changed my world. I am majorly in love with my handsome, hot husband. But I said to him one day, I was like, I don't even know if I know who I am, like, apart from you, really. Like, you know, and I realized that I've believed a whole bunch of lies besides the I'm not a speaker thing. And I want to tell you tonight, ladies, that you have value and worth as you are. Not when you have a husband, not when you have kids. The world and even the church, not this one, but most churches might make you feel a little bit like you haven't arrived until you've arrived at those things. It's just, that's not true. You have value from the minute you were conceived. You're worth everything to God right now, as you are, not one day. So I'm singing in clubs, I'm singing in churches, I'm trying to figure this whole thing out. I'm fighting against expected me, just trying to be me, but I don't know who I am. And so I end up in this bar, but there's this band playing worship music, like delirious songs, and there's this like super hot bass player, and I'm trying to pay attention and worship along with this bass player. I'm like, I love you, Lord, and I love the bass player. And it's just like, I'm so distracted. And it turns out that's a prayer. Like, we don't have to, it worked. And so fast forward a little bit, I'm like, do you want to be in my band? I play a drum. I'm a drummer. And his drummer had quit the band. He's like, yeah, that sounds fun. And then a couple years later, he's like, do you want to marry me? I was like, that sounds fun. So that's a really short story. And so we sold our condo, everything in our condo except my red KitchenAid mixer. You don't sell the mixer. Can I get an amen? Come on. My grandma gave me that. I'm like, keeping the mixer. So the mixer and the bass guitar were in the trunk of the Jetta, and we hit the Canadian highway, and we never looked back. We just started touring, doing all the things. Our touring life, after about 5 years of being broke and homeless, essentially, we ended up in Nashville, Tennessee, y'all. And we signed a record deal, like a legit record deal. It was like better than any dream I've ever dreamed. Mountaintop. We're on Winter Jam. I'm like, Winter Jam, that'd be a cute little tour, because in Canada, like winter, 5 people go to shows. And it was like 5 billion people. And we get on stage, I'm like, okay, I can do this, And it's all the expectations, the me versus expected me. What do people want me to say? How do they want me to look? But what do I need to say because God's asking me to say it? What do I want to wear because it's me? All of that. Fighting it, learning, growing on stage in front of people. And then we have some babies and we sell the Jetta and we get a bigger bus and we keep touring. And it's crazy, and I'm still showing up to my real life in sweatpants more than sequins, and tired mom trying to do all the things, and hopefully as I look back, giving others permission to do what they need to do their way. Because the thing is, life is messy, and I don't know how to get on stage and be perfect. Perfect's just a word, it's not a reality. But my whole life, I thought that the people on stage, they had it all together. So if I didn't, there was no place for me there or here. And then a month ago, our house, we got a flash flood in Nashville. I think I have a picture of us standing in the house the moment we showed our kids our house. It was almost exactly a month ago, and we've lived in our house for 7 years, away from our family. I can almost smell my mom's cinnamon buns. They're like 3 hours away. I haven't seen her in so long, and it's in the middle of such a hard year. No touring, so much feeling like it's been lost and taken away. And our house has become our safe place. We've toured, and then we have this home life that we've developed together over the last year. And then it floods, and we had like 5 minutes to get out of our house. Literally, the water was up over the wheels of our car when we drove away. And we came back the next morning, and there was 8 inches of water that made it completely wrecked. Right now it's down to the studs. It stinks. Everything's ripped out. And you know the lie I was telling myself when I was side stage before I came out? My life is too messy to get on stage. Like, I might cry. So I shouldn't be the girl, like the speaker or whatever. And I wanted to call and cancel all the shows we had this month, because I was like, how, God? Why is it that, my dream of being a rock star and being a mom came true at the exact same time? And then when we finally play shows, after not playing shows for 2 years, our house floods. It's like all the things. And this is what I want to say. When I feel like not showing up to my real life, like I'm sure you do sometimes, when I can't get the runners on to go for the run, when I can't get the sequin jacket on to go on stage, when whatever it is for you, when you just don't feel like getting out of bed, showing up to your classes, being kind to your family, you just can't show up, what do you do? How do you ditch those expectations and that perfection and that whole rat race. First of all, I sit in my feelings, which I don't think is what most pastors or people are supposed to stay on stage, but I've realized in my life, I can't just slap a verse on my pain and keep it moving. Jesus invites me into a process. His verses are true, but for them to do a work on me, I need to sit there, I need to name what I'm feeling and give it to him. You are not a bad Christian for feeling depressed about the loss that you've experienced over the last year and a half. You're not a bad Christian if you're dealing with mental health issues. You're not a bad Christian for feeling sad. You're not a bad Christian. You're a human being. It's like we become Christians and forget that we're human. But we can be human with the Lord. I used to be so happy, peppy, wrapping everything in a neat bow that even my journal wasn't honest. It was like always wrapped in a neat and tidy bow, especially when you've been a professional Christian for like 6 years. It's like I've gotten so good at wrapping everything in a neat and tidy bow, and maybe that's what you wanted tonight, but I just don't have that. But I do have the promise that there is no condemnation in those who are in Christ Jesus. So the guilt and the shame, crazy lady voice in your head, please tell me you hear her too. That's not the Lord. That is not the Lord. That's that crazy voice of shame and guilt that kicks in, that keeps us from showing up because it lies to us and tells us that we're not enough. You're enough. And when you don't feel like enough, you have Jesus. And you show up, and you take your next step, and you get on stage. And you don't wrap it in a bow. You just say, I know that I've got this because God's got me. You got this isn't having it all together. It's letting him hold you together and showing up. God, thank you so much for this time that we get to spend. Girls' night, man, tears, laughter, sequins, sweatpants, wherever we're at tonight. Maybe we felt like we weren't allowed to bring where we're at tonight into this place. Maybe we felt, I gotta just kind of like be my best self. May we just be ourselves in this place as ladies together, cheering each other on, sitting in the funky moments, crying and laughing, not comparing, but focusing on our calling, being obedient to you, not the crazy lady voice in our head. May we remember that you never shame us. You only love us. You only have love for us. If the voice we're hearing from you doesn't sound like that, it's not you. You love us, not one day, but right now, as we are. Thank you for holding us together when we don't have it all together. We love you. Amen.